at this point, before I go any further, I think it's worth mentioning, or it's worth describing the place that I was at in my life. And in a nutshell, I was not who I am now, who I was, who I'm describing in this series. Quite literally, my name was Abraham Fernando Curry. My name now is Eric Abraham Curry. I did not have anywhere near the confidence that I have now. I was beginning to slowly figure out that like I was different, but that there was nothing wrong with me. And that's when Tiny came into my life. It's, you know how they say the dots only connect when you look backwards. And Tiny entered my life at a very, very, very pivotal moment. Pivotal moment to say it at the least. So after that first night, I remember my dad not really giving me permission to keep Tiny, but not saying that I couldn't. The thing is, Tiny had to sleep in the garage, could not come upstairs because, well, I thought because my dad didn't want, because my dad thought that he was going to go poop in the house. I didn't realize that my dad was allergic until I brought Tiny upstairs, and my dad almost had an asthma attack. So I realized, oh, like, no, there's like, it's like a really good reason why we can't have cats in the house. So Tiny was an indoor-outdoor cat, and save it for all the people who, anyway, because being in my care was much better than being in the middle of the street, I'll tell you that much. But I remember at the beginning, my dad told me, he was like, don't be surprised if the cat leaves and never comes back. And I remember like either the second or third night that happened, and I was like, I was so sad. I was like, oh man, so like, I guess I don't get a cat. And then I was like looking in the backyard, and we had this outdoor cabinet under the deck, and he was crawled up under there. And that's when I realized that Tiny was stuck with me, that he was my new friend. And I became obsessed. I have a bit of an obsessive personality. The things that I involve myself with, I really do put 110%. And having this creature, my first big pet, right? My first big pet that really was just brought into my life in this very special way, but also that was not, it was very special, but it wasn't like out of the ordinary, you know what I mean? I found a cat in the street, completely changed my life. I became a vegetarian because of Tiny. I stopped eating meat. This is when I realized, as I, became more and more obsessed with my new pet, with my new friend, I was like, I love animals. I don't want to eat them anymore. As a matter of fact, I want to dedicate my entire life to them. And this is when I realized that I was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to animals. I want to become a veterinarian one day. I want to become a doctor for animals. And the thing is prior to this, I had never really had I'd never necessarily been interested in science or math, but knowing that this was my new goal, I saw this all as like a stepping stone. I wouldn't even say I was necessarily like a good student per se, always very smart, that goes without saying. But this just lit the fire under me. All of a sudden, I had an image, I had a goal, I had a vision. That's the best way I can describe it. I had a vision and nothing was going to stop me. I was unstoppable. It seemed it was very much as though this was like the missing ingredient. And I know that I'm talking in a little bit, not specific terms right now, but I will specify what I mean in this video. I really, before I go any further, wanted to set the pace for just how much this cat changed my life. I even started the Animal Savers Association, the ASA, and I thought that my goal, that my purpose in life was to one day go around rescuing animals and saving animals. And just to jump forward a little bit further, momentarily, I now hold a bachelor's degree in chemistry, and I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college because of what I just described here, because of the drive and because of the goal that I had in place, all surrounding Tiny. And I have to make that very clear before I go any further with this story. And it's something that I haven't, it's more than 20 years later at this point, and it's just slowly dawning on me how pivotal, and I know I've said that a million times, this moment was. And so in the next part, I'll continue with how Tiny and my decision to stop eating meat affected not only my life, but my family's and my communities. And it created a bit of a stir.